Hey everybody, welcome back to the Gamers Lounge podcast. My name is John Menders. With me as always is Eric and Nathaniel. What's going on, guys?
Hello. We're talking barbecue.
So we were just talking barbecue beforehand.
Pre-podcast barbecue talk.
We're not talking about the weather anymore. We're going to start every episode about
we
food.
could talk about the weather. Storms decide to roll through here.
It's like 101 here, nice and dry, in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, it must be nice.
Wet here.
Yeah, I was going to
Welcome
say.
to spotty thunder shower season. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
So it's like 8. So you're telling me it's 80 outside with the humidity.
It was 90 today, and I think the humidity was like 80% or something.
Yeah, that's about. Well, it wasn't quite that here. The humidity is high, but it wasn't quite that here. We did have storms all day, though. It rained pretty much all day long here.
We've had periodic storms for the past couple of weeks, so there's lots of just moisture in the air, on the ground, wherever.
And I was in Greensboro all last week, and it was Greensboro, Winston area, and I think it was Wednesday or Thursday night we had a storm. I was expecting one every evening. That's usually the way it is down there. About 5, 6 o'clock in the July, it gets really super hot, about 96, 97, then it rains, and then it just gets steamy and sticky, but it just did it one night there. But yeah, the whole time I was down there last week, it was like 98, 97, and 5,000% humidity. You could just see the mug in the air. I'm ready for winter.
It's
I
not
am.
time for winter.
It is way past time for winter for me. I do not like the heat, and I know I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I can always put more clothes on. I can only take so many off in public. But yeah, I don't do the heat. That's why we do not go to Florida in the summertime.
Summer, yeah, buddy.
Yep.
We go in November, December. My prime time of the year to go to Florida is February, but sometimes we don't go that late. But November, the week of Thanksgiving. So fingers crossed that it's going to be good weather. So got plenty of time to plan for it.
We're just thinking about California and Disney today a little bit. Who knows in the future? I've been a couple times. It'd be good to go. I mean, I haven't been in like 20 years, so it'd be good to go.
It's our favorite trip. We just stay at we pick a resort. We usually stay at one of the budget resorts, and I park the car on Sunday night, and I don't get back into it till Thursday because we just hop on the bus and it takes us to the park we want to go to, and staying on site. You can just go back and forth as you please all day long. I can go early in the morning, stay till noon or 1 o'clock, then go back to the hotel and relax and cool down, and then go for dinner and hang out the rest of the night. So it's a fun vacation. So we're looking forward to it again this year.
I think they're closing the Star Wars themed hotel that Disney has. That's what I'd heard.
Yeah, down in Florida. Yeah, they're closing it because it was a 2-night or a 2-day, I think it was 2 nights and 1 day at the park, and it was $5,000.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Did I get a free lightsaber?
No.
I mean,
no, you have to buy all that stuff.
Did I get to kick an Ewok on there?
They were reaching a bit far with that one.
Yeah, they were. It was a lot of money because when we first,
I'm sure it was cool, but not for that price.
Yeah, well, and we were but it's all inclusive, so it's your meals and everything.
Yeah,
and
still,
it's a lot of money. We thought about when they opened, it's like we'll do it. We looked at the price and went no,
yeah,
because I think
never mind.
I think you get 2 days at the park. I think it's 2 days, and then maybe it's 3 nights. I don't remember what it was now, but what's funny is when they announced that they were closing it down at the end of the year and they were only going to have a limited run of days left over, every one of them sold out. I mean, everybody was like, okay, we'll do it now because this is going to be our last chance to do it. Yeah, 3 nights and 2 days is what Nikki said. So I knew it was something like that.
Plenty of people who are thinking about it and be like, oh, well, maybe we'll save up and go. And it's like, oh, if we're going to do it, got to do it now.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, they had merchandise you could only get in that thing. They had lightsabers you could only buy in that thing. But it was all themed, so everybody was in character in the thing. So there was like a whole story that went along with it. It was a fun idea, but for the price, no, it's just not worth it. Especially if you have kids. I mean, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just me and the wife, so. I'm the only kid. Or both of us are the only kids. However you want to look at it. I mean, whatever. But no, we haven't had a show in almost a month. Between Nathaniel going out of town for vacation, and I had a lot going on here, trying to get things situated and finished at Mom's house. It's been a long 2 or 3 weeks, but I'm finally done. Everything's cleared out. We're good. So at this point, I have nothing that would hold me back. So the rest of the summer, other than work. So hopefully work will go easy, but we'll see. But we'll start off with what we've been playing like we always do. Unfortunately, I've played nothing. And the only reason I have played nothing is because my Ally has been sent back for an RMA because the SD drive went bad in it. And when the SD drive goes bad in it and you put an SD card in it, it cripples the system. I knew there was a problem when I booted it up one day and like nothing would come up. Windows would come up and it would just sit there and try to find the SD card, and then go, insert SD card. It's like, there's one in there. And the armor crate wouldn't open up or anything like that. The minute I would eject the SD card, everything worked fine. So I'm not the only one that has the problem. I read that they estimate that the data manufacturer of mine, which was, I think it was April. It was April of this year. 30% of those go bad with the SD cards.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a very high failure rate because I think the next month is May, and they have a 15% SD card failure rate.
That's even still a lot, but it's half of the 1 month before. So
apparently, from what I understand from their Discord with the developers or the whatever you want to call them, the people, it's a heating issue and a voltage issue. What's bad is, and it's like I've said this whole time, I have a little heat tester gun. I played a lot of Jedi Survivor on there, and that's a very taxing game anyway. Playing it at 720p medium graphics, about 35 to 40 frames a second is what I could get out of it. It would run. I could take my heat sensor, and on the side with the memory card, the heat coming out of it was 130 to 140 degrees. I go on the other side, it runs about 115 to 120 on the right side. So it's little cooler.
Did you test the temp on the Steam Deck? I'm just curious.
Steam Deck, usually the most I'd ever gotten out of the Steam Deck was about 100 degrees. But the big difference is between the Steam Deck and that, the memory card slot is not directly behind an exhaust fan, like that one is. So apparently what a lot of people have had problems with is they would keep the SD card in there and it would eventually just fry it.
Just fry it?
Yeah, just fry the SD.
Man, I'd be worried about damaging that port, though, too. If you're getting that hot, cooking the card, and cooking, like, the port, too.
Yeah, and I think that's what happened with mine. It cooked the port. It absolutely cooked the port. So this week or last week, they finally said, yeah, we know there's a problem with it. It's a heat and a voltage issue, and there's going to be a patch that'll come out for it where the fans will be adjusted and this and that and that and this. But if you've already got the damage, you're going to have to send your system back to get it either fixed or replaced. So I sent my system back. It didn't go out till yesterday, so who knows? We'll see how long it'll take.
I hope the RMA process is pretty good. I mean, I'm just told they finally said they received my hard drive, Western Digital. So I'm like, all right, let's see what I get back.
Yeah,
I really like to use it on my Series S.
The last time I had issues with a hard drive with Western
Digital, making a face.
It was less than a week, and I had it back.
They said they are experiencing some delays, though.
Yeah,
so we'll see. I mean, it's in no rush.
They didn't even give me an estimated time of return for mine. They were just like, "Yeah, send it back, and here's the label." And I'm hoping they just send me a new one instead of waiting to get it fixed, because who knows? But yeah, I mean, I was actually getting really far in Jedi Survivor. I was like, yay, I can finally play it. It's good and it's fun. And then, and I could still play the system. I just couldn't use an SD card with it. And it's like, do I really need an SD card? No, probably not. But at the same time, it's like, I still want it to work. because there are some games I want to carry on a SD card. It's not like I was playing like super high intense games off the SD card. The little games is what I was playing off the SD card. Anything AAA I put on the system itself. But now it's like, man, I really should have maybe just got the 2 terabyte internal drive and went, forget the SD card. Don't worry about it. But oh well, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I've just got the standard drive in there. I didn't do any replacement stuff, and I've got several things installed. A couple big ones and several small ones.
Yeah. Usually the only thing
that's plenty of choice for me is like if I need to put something else on there, I can. But
yeah. And usually I carry at least a SD card around with some smaller games on it and stuff like that. But I had 3 memory cards, a 1 terabyte and 2 512s. The 1 terabyte was that Extreme Pro expensive SD card because it read at those high speeds, and it quit working in the Ally, but it works in the PC, so I knew it was the Ally issue. Then on the 2 512 cards, one of them worked just fine in the Ally, the other one didn't. So, but they both worked in the PC. So, it is very, very odd.
I mean, that can just also be SD cards are finicky sometimes with different devices, so who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell.
Combination of things is probably what it is.
Yeah, but hopefully it'll be back fairly quickly. But
and I bought Jedi Survivor in the Steam sale, and I still haven't installed it.
Yeah,
I don't know when I'm going to get around to playing it because
eventually.
Baldur's Gate 3 is now the start of August, so it's like
right around
I'm running out of time if I want to finish it before then.
Yeah, well, and my question is, well, what's funny is I bought Baldur's Gate early, did the early access, and none of that I read last week, none of that stuff is going to carry over. And in fact,
all of it does, except for the early access, which was kind of like not even much of a deal. Besides, it's like you're getting it super early anyway. Who cares?
Well, apparently you'll have to reinstall the entire game again when it comes out because they said it's so different from the early access game and the save doesn't carry over, was what I read from the devs.
Yeah, I knew the save didn't carry over. I didn't know you'd have to reinstall it. I was just waiting to install it anyway. But
yeah, that's what they had said, that it was, that you'd have to... which I'm glad I didn't play a lot of it.
the pre-order bonus thing, and then I was like, I figure I was just not going to start till it comes out anyway.
Yeah, I played it, just a little bit of it. Hopefully it'll have controller support by the time it launches. That way I can play it on the Ally. If not, I'll have to play it on the deck.
I think they've said that it was supposed to.
Yeah, that's last I heard it was supposed to, but I hadn't seen any updates on it for a while. So, I bought a lot of games.
They had a huge 3 or 4 hour stream about it not that long ago. That Larian does their big old I forget what they call it, but they've done it a few times, and there's a bunch of different little updates that came out of it. Some of it I think was the saves and all that stuff originated there, and then became stories on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing because I didn't have time to sit down and watch a 3-hour.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch it. I just saw a couple clips.
Yeah, I wanted to watch it. And I was like, 3 hours? No, I'll read the highlights somewhere. Thanks, though. I appreciate it. It's like,
I mean, if you do have the time, they're kind of worth it because they're a bunch of just nerdy goofballs, so their streams are usually fun.
Right.
But yeah, that's still a long stream.
Well, I bought a bunch of games the other day, and I haven't played them yet. I bought Oxenfree 2 because it just came out, and I was like, "Oh, I want that." And I bought Bricktails was on sale, and what was the other one I bought? Oh, Gravity Circuit. If you like 2D Mega Man style games, it looks really cool. Haven't got to play any of them yet because it's like, oh, they're on sale because they just launched today? Okay, let me buy them real quick, and then I'll play them whenever I get home, whether it's the Steam Deck or the Ally when the Ally's there. But yeah, that's it. I wanted to play more games, but I got an iPad, played a lot of Marvel Snap. So the Allies doesn't work, I'll play some Snap. It's like that's quick and easy. But Nathaniel, Final Fantasy XVI. I see you picked it up on the PS5.
I did because I played the demo before it came out and was like, okay, I really like this. And then the reviews were also good, but I think I pre-ordered it even before then because I really like the 2-hour demo or something. It's like the whole
something
kind
like
of intro of the game, so it's quite a bit. But yeah, I don't know how much I've put into it. I'd have to look at my save to see how many hours, but a lot.
So is it as good as everybody says?
I really like it. It's got some like little drawbacks to it that I'm like, I wish this was a little better. Like the longer you play it, the more you realize that they only wrote so much music for it. So you start hearing certain tracks over again. So it's more like, okay, we'll use this theme for this thing. And then sometimes, even early in the game, I was like, oh man, this music is weirdly mismatched. Like these two characters are having a very like quiet conversation somewhere about like deep subjects, and it's kind of like sad or melancholy or whatever. It happens more than once, where like these characters are having this kind of even somewhat sort of intense, but not like loud, but just kind of like quiet conversations. And then the music just does not match the tone at all. I'm just like, just have no music. You don't have to have music the whole time, guys. This is weird. Like all the big booming action stuff is awesome. It's great. All the stuff during like fights and boss fights and all that stuff, they nail it. Even if it's like something you hear over and over again because it's just the typical battle music, they're good at that. They've been doing that for decades. Right. They know what to do there. But like the character drama stuff is just kind of like, I'm not sure what you're going for with the music here. It doesn't seem to match the conversation that's going on. And I thought that once, and then it's happened a few times since then. I'm just like, I think that this particular couple types of, things that you're doing here, you didn't know what to do with the music, but you felt you had to have music because it's got to have music all the time.
It's a Final Fantasy game. You got to have that music,
I don't know. I mean, there's other times where there's not really much music, but I don't know. Not often. You're just in your hub or wandering around. There's some sort of general music. So yeah, most of the time there's music going on, but there's times when you take the music away so that you feel its absence, and then you feel the drama more.
Right. I don't know. I've heard different things from different people about it. I've read some people say,
it kind of depends on who you are, I think.
This is the game of the year. The story is excellent. It's awesome. It's great. And plays great. And then I've heard other people who played it go, I really can't get into it. The story doesn't make sense. It's very whatever. And so it seems like
story makes perfect sense for a Final Fantasy game or whatever. It's not like, I don't know, you can tell very much that, like, hey, this is if it were named properly, be like Final Fantasy X Game of Thrones, because it's kind of a cross between the two. So it's still very much got the Final Fantasy JRPG sort of tone and things to it, mixed with, hey, we're being more gritty, dark, like Game of Thrones at the same time. It's like a weird combination, but it's kind of fun. I like it. I like the combat. The combat was, that's what kind of sold it to me from the demo, and it only gets better from there because looking back, hey, that's very simple at the beginning of the game. So you have kind of like, it's very much different combat, which I think some longtime fans of Final Fantasy are not sure about that part of the game. Some of them are because they like other games too, but because it's not turn-based, it's very different. And that's kind of what got me interested in it in the first place, because some of the other Final Fantasies I've bounced off of. So I'm like, oh, I'll try this one. And I tried the demo, and I was like, okay, I will buy it because I like this enough, I will play it. And so, like the combat's very much like you have a button for a fast attack, and then you have a button for like magic, so you can throw like fireballs when you start the game, because your character has kind of like fire abilities. And then you get like more fun special abilities you can do. You can like unlock the thing where if you hold down your button, you'll like charge up your sword, and that will get fire aspect. You can hold it as long as you want, and then when you let go, it'll hit.
Yeah.
So you can do all sorts of different things to build it in. And then there's on the ability tree, sometimes your abilities and things will have a couple of layers, levels before you master them. So like each time you get something a little bit more. So there's one where like when you jump in the air, and then you hit this button combo, you'll like do a downward strike, and then when you upgrade it, it adds fire to it. So stuff like that. Or you get like more magic abilities. So you have a lot of those where like you do this cool upward strike thing that has kind of like these fiery wings and stuff.
That's what we need Robert on the show.
I know.
He'd be like, he'd be asking questions, picking your brain, talking about it. It'd be nuts.
And I know he's been playing
sure
it a lot.
I can answer some of it. I don't know I can answer all of it because I'm not like a long-time Final Fantasy person.
He's
I've dabbled here and there, but like Robert is definitely the Final Fantasy guy.
He's definitely.
I know he's been playing it because I see him pop on.
And I'd be like, I would guess he would like this because the Final Fantasy 14 team is the team that made this game, and he likes Final Fantasy XIV. They're very different games, but still.
Right.
But yeah, I've gone, so like the story has kind of like almost like a prologue-y thing. It was mostly the demo, and then you get into like the main part of the game, because like the demo is most of it is where the main character Clive is like 15, 16, something like that, and it's like 10 or 15 years later is when the most of the game happens. And bad things happen that put him into a different position than where he was when he was growing up, so you gotta like deal with that. And then there's like all this sort of plot that kicks off, and like, oh hey, here's this is happening. And then you after a while get more like into the main structure of missions or whatever. Like, we're gonna do this, and then we have to do this 5 times basically. And I've done that 3 times, and I'm almost to the number 4 of doing that. So I've probably played 30-ish hours at least. I don't know. Like I said, I'd have to look at my save.
Yeah.
I'm doing all the side quests, even though the side quests are kind of mostly dumb.
As a lot of them are, in except like Witcher. Yeah, that's about the only game that I've found the side quests. I mean,
there's other games that do some pretty good side quests. Like Witcher is notable because some of the side quests aren't side quests.
Yeah.
They're more like, these are main quests that don't necessarily specifically tie into the main game, but they're still the same kind of thing. Whereas like when other games like Final Fantasy XVI say side quests, what they mean is, hey, go get some stuff and bring it back to this guy or this person, or like go here and then go here to do a thing and you're done. They're very simple. Whereas like that's what Witcher 3 did, was a lot of, not all of, but a lot of the side quests were a little more complicated than that, so they're more engaging.
Yeah.
You get a few that are a little bit better, but most of them are very either fetch questy or go here, kill all these monsters, go back and tell the person, get your reward. There's plenty of those. Some of them have a nice little twist that you're like, ugh. And a lot of them I like because they get you some more world building stuff or some character stuff. So if you're like in your base and someone gives you a side quest, you usually get some nice dialogue from it. So that's why I do it. So it's just more of like some character insights or world building insights. The quest itself is like, yeah, this was fine.
Yeah.
Some of them are fun though, because like eventually in the game you unlock this like hunt board where you have special monsters and stuff out there that are kind of like graded. So they're out in kind of like your different map. Open world is like not really an open world. It's very much like open areas that are interconnected, but
yeah,
you have several different maps and stuff that you go to. But like just out there in the world, there's these monsters. You can go and kill them, and then you get special kind of like crafting materials that like eventually, if you get enough of them, you can build some cool stuff. But yeah, like as you play through the game, you get different magical abilities. So I have 4 different types now. Yes, 4. I have 4 different types of magical abilities. So I have stuff that's like fire-based, electricity, wind, and earth. Those are the ones I currently have. And they're all very fun and very flashy. And by the time you get to where I'm at, you're barely doing regular attacks at all anymore because you're just like, I'm saving up these. And then, so it's really fun is when you have enemies have kind of like almost a stamina bar. That's not what they call it, but like once you break it, they're stunned.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can unload on them and you get bonus damage for like each hit that you hit them when they're in that state builds up a multiplier. So the longer, the later hits cause more damage. So it's like, all right, I staggered them. Now I'm going to hit them with this special move that's like really quick punches and stuff. Or quick slashes, and hit him with the other thing that's like a whirl thing that does a bunch of hits, and then I'll hit him with my big like lightning attack that hits something that's more damage than it normally is.
Pew, pew, pew,
so it's all about maximizing the damage on like the boss fights. Then you got peons that you're just like, I have a couple of big area of effect spells now that when I run into a bunch of guys, but like, eat all this magic, and they're like, oh, we're dead.
Yeah, just keep running. Get out of the way.
But yeah, the story's pretty cool. Some of the villains are like, a couple of the villains are my favorite characters, and then now the villains that I liked are no longer around because I've defeated them. I'm left over with the other villain who's fine. We just haven't seen as much of him yet because you see him a little bit here and there as you go, but now it's going to focus on him a bit more. I think that the other ones are out of the way. It's like, aha, now I will come out from behind the curtain and you can, fight me now or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the story makes plenty of sense or whatever for just kind of like a big fantasy thingy.
What are people's biggest complaints about it? Is it just like people complain about the story, or they complain about like the gameplay? I don't know. People always complain about.
I don't know. I've heard complaints about everything.
I've
heard.
It depends on who you are, because I think there's plenty of people who are bummed that it's not like a turn-based Final Fantasy thing.
Yeah.
I think there's some people who are mistakenly thinking, "Oh, this is just not Final Fantasy at all." It's like, dude, there's so much JRPG in this. It's just the combat system's not turn-based.
Yeah.
I'd say it's not like a Tales game, but it's sort of like a Tales game, and that it's more actiony and flashy. It doesn't control the same way, but yeah, like a lot of Tales games. Not that other Final Fantasy games aren't flashy as well with their turn-based stuff, but
I was hoping for turn-based
direct button inputs.
I
mean, they could have.
like turn-based, but. Yeah.
I think another thing that some people are missing is because it's not turn-based, you're just they also don't have like character switching or anything, so you're not playing as any of the other people in your party. And there's also like you see a little bit of a glimmer of what they could have done, because you have like a dog companion that you get partway into the game, and you can give him like commands. He has like 3 things on the D-pad you can do. That people are like, well, why couldn't we do that with companions too? So you could be like, hey, do your cool ability or something.
Yeah.
I'd say that some people are probably complaining about that. I'm not missing it. It's fine. It's just like I didn't have any expectations going into it, so I don't have anything of that. So what I've played, it's fun.
Well, it's different.
I wouldn't say it's like the best game ever either. So it's just like it's really good. Like it's very well polished. Just like all of the like interface stuff and the menus and all that's really nice looking, and it handles very smoothly. The load times are like super fast.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
And, do I prefer turn-based? Yeah, I prefer turn over action. But, I mean, if it's done right, I don't mind action.
I mean, I'm backwards on Final Fantasy from what I am from, like, Yakuza. Because I like the one that's turn-based there in that series better than the couple others that I tried playing. And then this one, I've tried playing some of the turn-based or hybridy ones. I didn't like them as much. Although I'd say with Final Fantasy 15, it was a bit more about just the actual like environment, like, hey, we're a bunch of bro dudes running around in a convertible for some reason, but everybody else's fantasy is like, I just didn't vibe with it.
I didn't either. I didn't, and I bought it, and I was like, "Oh, Final Fantasy."
I played it probably at least a dozen hours. I gave it a pretty good chance. I got to try the fishing mini game, which was fun, but I just stopped playing it after a while because I got bored.
Yeah, I did too. I got bored with that one, and that's kind of the reason I didn't get this one is because I didn't want it on PlayStation. I wanted it on PC whenever that happened. So
yeah, I would say it'll be out on PC within a year and a half, maybe. Hopefully, like it just depends on how long it takes them to port it.
Because I don't have time to play it on the PlayStation. I don't have time to sit down here. I'd only be able to play it on Saturday nights, and that'd be about it. So it's if I get it, I want it on PC so I can play it on the Ally. If it'll run on there. How well it'll run on there.
We'll find out whenever they port it.
Yeah, we'll find out when they port it. Yeah,
based on our discussions from earlier, we
might... I know they're working on it.
Oh, it'll run. It just may burn the system up. I mean, it'll
hey, what's that sound? Because you have fire
bacon?
Powers.
Yeah, exactly.
Your character has fire powers, so if he burns up your device, that's fitting.
Yeah, exactly. So, we'll see.
I mean, I'm liking this enough that like if there's enough time in between it and there's not as much else going on when the port on PC comes out, I might buy it again. Who knows? We'll see how I feel once I finish the game. But so far, I'm deep into it and really liking it, so it's fun. If
they do it anything like Final Fantasy VII when it comes out, they'll have a steep discount, on PC for it anyway.
Yeah.
So
who knows?
Yeah,
we'll find out whenever they actually get it done.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, then I have a couple of the games I've been playing on the Ally. I put a bunch of things on. I bought several things in Steam sale and then installed some things. I already had some new things on the Ally for on my trip, and then I ended up playing. I did actually not on here. I played Forager, but that's just like whatever. That's a time waster game.
Yeah.
Not much to talk about it there. It's like, hey, click things, harvest things, craft things, repeat. I've played it before. I think I like it better on the handheld though. It plays really good there.
Yeah.
Then I played a game on Game Pass called Dordogne. It's like I'm probably butchering the pronunciation. It's spelt different than that, but they say it in the game, and then it's been a while since I've played it, so I probably am Still not quite correct there. Anybody who lives in France or whatever will tell me because it's an actual place
That's
and
what I was
river,
gonna say.
I believe.
It's
I think
a
it's
river.
It's town and a river.
Yeah, when I
something.
searched for it, I had to put Steam after it so I could see what it, because it kept wanting to bring up the place in France.
Like,
or the tried and true put game after a title. I had to do that for some other games where it's just like, oh, Google might think you mean this, but yeah. So I got it cut off of Game Pass, but it's because the art style is really cool. I like the trailer and stuff of it, and I remember I had bookmarked it a while back, and then I saw it came out on Game Pass not too long ago. And it's all kind of this woman is going to what was her grandmother's house and going through it because I can't remember if she's inheriting it or if it's just like she has to go through it because they're going to sell it and clean it out soon or whatever, because her father, who had a bad relationship with his grandmother, doesn't want her to be there or something or other. There's some drama that I haven't quite gotten to the end of the game yet. And then the structure of it is as you go, you like find something and it triggers a memory, and then you're back in time as like the character is a little girl, like 7, 8 or something, I forget, visiting her grandmother's house for the first time, spending the summer there, and then like some of the adventures that they have, like, hey, this is the time we did this thing, this is the time we went to the market, this is the time that we went down the river and had a picnic, and different things happened. So, and I'd say it's the closest thing to it would be like a point and click adventure game, but not quite as like puzzly based or anything. It's very much like maybe put like a point and click adventure game and put a little bit of walking simulator in it, except it's not like a 3D version of that. It's just 2D wandering around with fun kind of not watercolor, but kind of illustrated and a little bit of painting kind of look to the art style.
It has a very unique art style. I was watching the video here of it. It looks
it's really, really nice looking, and it plays pretty well too. So I'm enjoying it. Most of it's voice acted, even though you've also got like the text pop up stuff
that's
too.
Cool. I like it when it's voice acted.
Yeah, so like if you want to skip it, you can, but if you want to hear the voice acting that's really good, you can do that too.
Now, did you play this on the Ally, or did you?
Yeah, I was playing it on the Ally.
Does it play real good? I guess it has controller support. So yeah.
Yep, it does.
It's cool.
I mean, it's a Game Pass game. It'd be weird if it didn't
have
support it.
Yeah,
except for the few that are like PC only, things on Game Pass. Most of them are going to be.
And that's what I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if it was on consoles or if it was like a PC only.
It's both. Yeah, it's both.
Yeah. Cool. Whenever I get my Ally back, I may actually download that and play it. It looks interesting. I'd seen the little header thing, when it's like recently added. I was like, well, that looks unique, but I didn't download it.
It's very much an indie game that's like, I don't know, it's probably a small team, or at least the creative team is like 1 or 2 people, because it seems very much like, hey, this is something about my own personal experience that I'm going to put out there into a game. There's other games that are kind of, you could describe this in a similar way, even though they're different games. And yeah, it's got a cool art style, and it's just mostly chill. There's not like anything crazy going on, like, oh no, a monster's gonna eat your face. It's just like, all right, I just want to chill and play a game with a fun little story.
Yeah,
nice one. So yeah, I definitely need to go back. It's been a little bit since I've played it, so I need to go back and finish it, because I don't think it's supposed to be very long. I put maybe, I don't know, 3 hours into it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it would be a real long game.
Yeah, it's probably 10 or less. I don't know. I haven't actually looked, but I would be surprised if it's more than 10.
Yeah.
It's probably closer to like 6, 7, something like that, based on kind of like how it feels like I've gone through maybe half of it at this point. Anyway, so I also bought Dave the Diver when that hype was kicking up, when it hit full release or what have you, I guess, and everyone's like, Dave the Diver. I'm like, what is this? And they're like, that's fun.
You not remember me talking about? You remember me
talking
about?
I do not remember you talking about it.
Yeah. I bought it. Oh, geez. Like I said, I think I bought it back in March. I don't remember. We were doing beer cooler resets. I think I bought it back in March. I played a lot of it back then. It was. It's one of my favorite games of the year. I love it.
It's a lot of people's. I think this was kind of like I paid attention to it, and then I put it on my bookmarked it, and then when the Steam sale came along, it's like a little discount, but I was like, I'll buy it anyway because I want to play it, and it plays really good on the Ally. It looks really nice. All the pixel art on anything, I'm sure, because it's really fun pixel art. But it's like a really kind of like semi-goofy concept where you're just like this big middle-aged dude who like gets called in because you're a diver, and this like other guy that he wants you to go diving so that you can get stuff to like you got like this magical, what they call it, like the big blue hole or something.
Yeah,
It's really
something like
stupid.
that. Yeah, it's just
and it's magical. Every time you go
in,
it's different, so you can find different fish and stuff, and then you can bring them back to other sushi restaurant.
Yeah, we're going to build it right on the beach, the sushi restaurant, so there'll be something different every day. It'll be great. I'm just a diver. I want to retire. I don't want to.
And that's kind of how it starts, but I don't know. The fun thing about the game, so like you have kind of different time periods of like morning, afternoon, and like evening time. And morning, afternoon, you do dives, and then in the evening time, you're serving at the sushi restaurant.
Yeah.
And so you're diving in, you're like, hey, you're catching fish with like a little harpoon gun. You also have like a little knife that you can use to cut plants or try and attack things that attack you, but don't do that. It doesn't work. I found that out early on and decided, nope, you got to do it from range.
Yeah.
And then, you're just it's a bunch of collecting different things, so you can collect different kinds of fish. There's a ton of them. You eventually get a little app in your in-game smartphone that's like, hey, here, this will track all of the fish that you catch, but they're trading cards. Ooh, so you can get different quality versions of it. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Mostly I checked it a couple times, be like, wait, where was that fish again? Oh, it's in this zone. Okay. But you're going and you're also like picking up seashells, you're picking up rope and pieces of wood, and you're getting like copper ore and iron ore and stuff like that, so you can like craft guns. You get guns underwater.
Yeah.
I've gotten, I think, 4 or 5 of them so far. I've got like a regular gun, I've got a shotgun thing, I've got a net gun, I've got a tranquilizer gun, and a sniper rifle. And once I got the sniper rifle, I was finally like, yes, this shark is dead. Yeah, like there's sharks, and there's a main mission not too far in that's like, hey, we need this shark so that we can make this shark head sushi for this special person so that you can progress this main quest. So I'm like, okay, I'll go find this shark, and just instantly just like dead. So I'm like, all right, I need more firepower. So eventually I got one I found some upgrades, because you can find temporary upgrades for each run, some that you get. And then later, I think there's ways you can permanently upgrade your weapons. But I got some upgrades, so I went and killed a shark. And then later, when I unlocked the sniper rifle, it has a laser sight on it, so you can shoot from much further away. It's like, haha, I got you, shark. I got you in like 4 hits. But and then there's like all sorts of like goofiness in it, where when you're running the sushi restaurant, anytime that you upgrade something, it goes into a cool cutscene that looks like a cross between the Iron Chef and a kung fu movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all very super over the top, where you're like doing all like the chef dude who runs the sushi restaurant is doing stuff like he's chopping something or preparing something, but like the way that they frame it is all very cinematic, as if it was filmed, even though it's all pixel art. And so it's like doing all these things with like cool kung fu movie style tropes with like shings and like lens flare pops and all sorts of different like whoosh pans and stuff. It's really fun. And then you also have kind of like main quests that sometimes trigger a cutscene. And there's a whole plot that I'm not too far in, where there's this guy when you get artifacts for the sea people, which is basically mermaids.
Yeah.
And there's some sort of scary giant octopus down in there that sunk a ship and stared at me from the background once, and then I haven't seen it since. So I'm betting this game is going to get even weirder the deeper you get into it. It's just super fun to just like, hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to collect all these things this time, because I want to, you get some things where your smartphone has so many icons in it in the game. So there's ones where it's like, hey, collect these items to get like points, and then when you get enough points, you get like a cool talisman thingy or whatever, and then you get more for level 2 or 3. Your restaurant they have basically kind of like a what do they call it? Cooksta. That's the app that they call it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So people, when they come to your thing, they will like put actual posts that you can read if you want on there, and then once your rating goes up on there, then you unlock new stuff, so you can have more recipes on your menu, and you can like get more cooking staff and stuff like that. It's tied in. There's like things you can do to upgrade your gear. So in order to go deeper, you have to get like better oxygen capacity, better diving suits, so you can go deeper. You need to get better storage capacity so you can hold more stuff.
Yeah.
So
March
it's just a lot of
25th. That's when I got it. March 25th. I look back through the notes. So.
There's a lot of different fun systems on top of each other for just like upgrades and collections and all this stuff. And it's, I don't know, you call it an RPG. It's different than any other RPG, but it's got a lot of RPG kind of mechanics and
really
stuff in it. But it's all about like, hey, get fish to help this sushi restaurant.
Yeah. I liked it.
But then you're still serving it. So like you still like you have to, you're like because you're a fat dude, you move very slow, and then you hold like your sprint button, and he's like waddles a bit faster, but like the bar goes down, so you have to be careful that he doesn't get out of breath. But you have to go all the way to the end to get this person before they or get mad and leave. You got to give them their stuff.
Yeah. So
eventually you hire like NPC people to help you out, so you can put them in the kitchen or put them out to serve. So it helps. So it's not just one person doing it all, but. And if I remember the trailer, there's some other stuff that I haven't gotten to yet. That I'm like, oh, okay, that's weird. Like you're doing different things that I haven't even seen yet. So,
I need
very fun. Definitely worth playing. It's fun. It's funny. It's another kind of like fishing based game that comes kind of out of nowhere from the indie scene, because we had the other one earlier this year that I really, really liked. That now I'm forgetting the name of off the top of my head, but the
Dredge.
Kind of like Dredge. That's what.
Yeah. Are they? What's the big difference between the two? I think I was more interested in
They're very different games.
Oh yeah, they're very different.
One's a roguelike, right?
Dave the Diver has a little bit of roguelike things in that it's sort of different underwater each time you go, but not that much.
The other one is like
three configurations.
Yeah, the other one you can't be out at night, right? Or it's like tougher at night or something.
Yeah, that's what Dredge is. Like at night, it gets a little bit creepier and dangerous at night, but then also there's stuff that's only out at night that you can catch.
Got it.
Yeah.
But
that one's very much a 3D game, and you're going around, and there are some missions and things like that, but it's more about selling the some of the fish and crafting some stuff. They do have some overlap a little bit in that, like there's systems for like, hey, catch fish and then use those fish to get sell them or get things, but.
Those two games are
not too much.
Dave the Diver and Dredge are in my top 5 games of the year so far. I mean,
now we just need a third one to come out of nowhere that also starts with a D and has to do with fishing, because Dredge and Dave the Diver, we just need a third one.
yeah, those are both. Buy them, just buy them. I mean, they're.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in at least the Diver. It's on my list.
I know Dredge is, I think, was like the $20 range. I think Dave the Diver is also 20 or maybe 30. I can't remember.
No, it's $20. I just had it up on the Steam to see. Yeah, it's $20.
So they're not expensive, and you get way more than what you pay for. I'd say for both of them.
Absolutely. So. Yeah, I need to get back into Dave the Diver. I need to get back in, because I think Dredge came out shortly thereafter, and I started playing it, and then didn't go back to Dave.
So a secret hack for Dave the Diver. You do much better if you're listening to Holy Diver by Dio. It got in my head because every time in my head I would hear it like he's singing Dave the Diver, so it's like Dave. Like in my head every time I was reading it, like on a screen somewhere, like, and I was like, okay, now I have to play it while listening to it just because that popped in my head, and it's fun.
That's hilarious.
It's silly, it's stupid. Like a few of the lyrics even kind of sort of apply to what you're doing, like vaguely.
That's funny.
We need the Weird Al version that's like Holy Diver, but it's like about Dave the Diver instead.
Yeah, I'm sure he would do something like that. Yeah, if he's
bring him up. Hey, Weird Al, what you doing?
Yeah, hey, I got a great idea for you, man. Why don't you work on this? We really need it.
Like he never gets suggestions like every second of every day.
No, nobody ever would do that. No,
So yeah, that's pretty much kind of what I've been playing for the moment. I've got a whole bunch of other things like, man, I want to play these. Will I have time to do them? I don't know. Yeah. Baldur's Gate's coming soon. And then after that, we got like 3 things. And I think there's at least 3 things in September and October, and then 1 or 2 in November that I want to play. I'm like, I'm not going to have time to get to all of those.
Yeah. Good grief. All right, Eric. So I know you've been playing a lot of Diablo. Are you level 100 yet?
Level 100.
Hardcore.
No.
Hardcore level 100 never died.
Yeah, I've heard that the grind in Diablo 4 is not. People don't like it.
It's pretty grindy. So I am level 61 with my rogue, and I've got level 32 druid and a level 20 or 21 necromancer. The druid's interesting because it's just like a tank class. I'm doing the cocaine bear build to just smash stuff. Rogue is fun. I mean, yeah, you're a nightmare tier, so you're doing dungeons, trying to get the loot. There's some world events going on. It's fun doing the party, but I was telling my brother this week, I'm a little burnt out. I know season 1's coming soon, but so is Baldur's Gate 3. Right. I already bought that like a month ago. I haven't played it yet, so I need to play a little bit before it comes out. But I'm very excited. I was reading up on the classes and stuff. I'm very interested. Oh man, it's gonna be so for Baldur's Gate. Well, okay, down with the Diablo talk. Baldur's Gate 3. I have no idea what class I want to play. You know, maybe I'll be like a thief. Maybe I'll be a druid. But I saw there's some other cool races and stuff. Like, I don't know. It's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be like, I don't know. You know, it's like playing the Elder Scrolls games, right? You know, there's so much. This race, this kind of elf gets this bonus. I'm like, all right, sure, I'll be that. But this, it's gonna be crazy. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what little bit of it I played, it's really good. So
I'm so busy the next couple weekends, but I think the last weekend of this month I have a little bit of time, so I'm gonna try to squeeze in just a couple hours, just enough to me taste it.
It runs.
Like, that's not cool. Why did I never finish the second game?
It really runs good on Steam Deck.
All right. Yeah, take that with me. I thought about taking it with me camping too, but I'm like.
Yeah, I mean, you have to use the track pads and stuff, but it works really well. It works really well.
You're saying I could be watching football in the fall, playing some Baldur's Gate on Sunday?
Absolutely.
Man, you really sending the perfect message. Let's see. So what else am I playing? I got a review code for Double Dragon Gaiden on Series S. It's pretty good. I forgot that Double Dragon is a game where there is no dash or dodge mechanic, not like Streets of Rage. And let me tell you, it's slightly irritating. But, you know, it's got that classic sort of like 18-bit, 16-bit style. It's got co-op. It's pretty good. Combat's fun. There's some cool like special attacks you can do. You can use it to like buy like more health, more attacks, weapons and stuff. Man, I played for like maybe a couple hours. It is fun. Boss fights are a little bit challenging. I really wish there was a dodge mechanic, but other than that, it's good. It's got nice little music. It's very small download, so they definitely did a good job. I'll try to finish up that review this week when I have a little more time. But I've been pretty impressed so far. But yeah, I always like those. I always like those little beat 'em up games. Like, you know, if it's somebody, it's like, hey, check it out. I'm like, even if I didn't get it for review, I probably would love it. Just because it's just, you know, I like those. They're fun to play casually, kind of, you know.
And it looks like it plays very old school with like newer school, newer retro graphics.
Like you're playing like you're playing Turtles.
If that makes any sense whatsoever.
Like you're playing it's new,
it's old, it's mold, it's cold. I don't know. It can fold.
I mean, it looks like.
And there's a bunch of unlockable characters too, because they give you 3. You know, they give you Billy and Jimmy, right? Those are the 2 guys in Double Dragon. Billy and the other guy.
Billy and what the other?
Jimmy. It's Jimmy. And then there's another guy, and then there's like 4 or 5 other unlockables. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. It'd be neat to get those. Kind of see what's up.
Yeah, it totally. Just by looking at the video, it totally looks like it plays like the original one, but it has newer retro style graphics on it. Yeah.
Kicking them in the head, getting those weapons, throwing them at them. Yeah, it's definitely takes me back. And randomly, I bought Gun Valkyrie for the original Xbox. I've never played it. I like the Sega games on the original Xbox. I just fixed my modded Xbox maybe a month ago.
Let me tell you something. I bought that game on release day on the original Xbox when it came out. I still have it over there on the shelf with the receipt in the box.
Maybe.
I was working at Funko Land at the time, and I was the only person.
What's Funko Land?
Yeah, well, GameStop. I was the only person in the Greensboro area that bought that game. I was the only person. Nobody ever else came in to get the other copy.
Where did I get it? Oh, it was on. I belong to this big like buy sell Discord. Of course I do. And somebody had it on sale complete for like $27 shipped. I'm like, that's like a $30 to $40 game. I'll buy it. And then I was looking on the Series S. They had it on the store for like $4. I was like, all right, buy it there too.
Yeah, but you got it digitally. It's
definitely an action game of its time. The controls definitely take a little bit getting used to. It is fun. It is fun. The controls and that stupid camera But it's good. I'm like, so yeah, you're like, I want extra buttons, but there really aren't in this game. So
Yeah.
it's cool. Like definitely like the Sega releases, that came out on Xbox and stuff. I'm always interested in stuff like that. So.
And it always makes you wonder if those were old games that were going to be on the Dreamcast that just never came to fruition.
I wonder. It kind of reminds me of just in the like a little bit like half an hour I played. I kept thinking about Vanquish too when I was playing it too, which I really like that game too.
Yeah.
So all those games, but I haven't played too much outside Diablo, but dabbling a little bit here and there. I'm almost done with Dead Island 2 as well. I have like maybe 2 or 3 hours left of that, and I'm trying to get back to it. When that Diablo game came out, Baldur's Gate comes out, and I'm gonna be like, all right, I'm not gonna go back. And my buddy's like, come on, Elden Ring, let's get back and play some more. I'm like, there's this other thing, Baldur's Gate. I'm not gonna have time for Elden Ring. Locked in.
Speaking of Baldur's Gate, have either of you guys watched the Dungeons and Dragons movie?
I have.
I watched it.
So I watched it with my wife.
Yeah,
she liked it.
I watched a little bit of it the other day because I didn't realize it was on Paramount Plus. It's actually really good. I was like, wow, this is a really good movie. It's great.
And then, so my wife was like, well, wasn't there like another thing? I was like, oh yes, there was a movie from the early 2000s.
Oh yeah, there was.
She's like, we should watch it. I'm like, okay. I'm gonna warn her. I was like, well, and then I found out what makes it crazy is there were 2 sequels.
Oh yeah,
and they're awful.
DVD. Yeah, they are.
They're terrible.
I mean, there's other stuff too that's come out there, but this recent one is definitely the most successful they've ever done.
And I never watched the cartoon as a kid. That was from the 80s, right? There was one season.
I remember watching the cartoon as a kid. Yeah,
entertaining. I'll check it out.
Yeah,
probably
cartoon characters are in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, that's neat.
They're like a cameo kind of in the sort of background.
Is there any cameo from the other movies at all? Was there anything from the other movies?
I don't think so.
I don't think so, no. Not that I know of.
But if you're a big D&D nerd, you can see like almost all the time like which spells that they're casting, that type of stuff. If you know what's going on.
I laughed at some of the places. I'm like, hee for that. Baldur's Gate.
I know where Baldur's Gate is. I know Neverwinter. Oh, that's great.
But my wife liked it because she it was entertaining enough, but then all of us that played like D&D or played the games were like, there's little references. It's funny to me. It was good. It was well produced.
It was really good. Yeah, and like I said, I haven't even finished watching it yet. I just kind of I was getting ready to go to bed, and I was like, I got a half hour to kill. Let me pull it up and see what it's like, because I figure me and Nikki will watch it. So it was like I watched about the first half hour, 45 minutes of it, and I'm like, wow, okay, this is really good. It's funny, but it's interesting.
They do a good job of balancing kind of like fun adventure and comedy with some more dramatic stuff. So it's just kind of like a really good mix.
Yeah, it really is. I was very surprised.
Versus the 2000s one, which is just like, you didn't know what you were doing.
No
idea. Way too serious with it. It doesn't work.
No. Speaking of movies, I went and saw Mission Impossible.
I did that
work had free tickets, so we went. It was good. I was very entertained. A little disappointed as part 1. I was like, oh, come on! I don't want to wait 2 years.
They've been advertising that as part 1 since the first trailer.
I haven't watched any of the trailers. I just know I like Mission Impossible, and I'm always.
It's not like Dune, where it was just Dune, and then when you saw it in the theater, part 1 shows up. So no, this they've been saying is part 1 since they were filming it. Even they're like, hey, we're doing part 1 and then part 2.
I kind of got to thinking I'm going to have to go back and watch Mission Impossible 2 or 3. I'm pretty sure. I know I saw those back in the day, but I'm like, I haven't seen those recently.
The last one that I saw was Ghost Protocol.
Yeah,
that's the last one
good too. All those new ones are good.
The Ghost Protocol would be 4, so 5 and 6 they're the best ones.
Yeah, I know. And
was 4 the first one they started doing with like the 3D with like the mask printing stuff? Was that? I think that was in 4, right?
No, that was the first one, wasn't it? 3?
They've had the mask since the first one, but like a little printer device.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, you're right.
I've seen these movies way too many times.
Yeah, I haven't seen them enough. So
which one's the one where he does like? Which one's the one is he scaling the cliff? Is that 3?
2.
And what about the one with like the motorcycle fight where they both jump off and hit mid-air? Is that the 2?
That's 2.
Okay.
So which one is the one where they? Yeah, I guess so.
But how long was without looking?
4.
There was a big gap between 3 and 4. There's a big gap in the releases between 3 and 4, like 5-6 years, right, or longer.
I don't remember how long it was.
Because I seem like
I just remember like 3 was J.J. Abrams, 4 was Brad Bird, and then 5 and 6 and 7 are.
And who did 2 and 3?
3 was J.J. Abrams. 2 was John Woo, and then
John Woo. That's what I thought.
The first one is Brian De Palma.
John Woo likes to ramp stuff up.
Okay, so Mission Impossible 1 was 96, 2 was 2000.
I saw that in the theaters.
Okay,
so I saw that many times in the theater. I think I saw the original 5 times in the theater.
Okay. I watched the TV show back in the day as a kid. Like they had those.
So here you go. 96 for 1, 2000 for 2, 06 for 3.
06? Man.
2011 for Protocol, which would have been 4. Rogue Nation was 15. Fallout was 18, and then of course this one is July of this year, and then the next one's not till June of next year.
Well, okay, next year 2024. I could do that.
This one probably would have been out at least last year. Just
filming is suspended right now because of the strike.
Right.
So I mean, hopefully they still.
I think they've already filmed it. Oh no! Wait, it says right here currently suspended.
Not all of it.
Because it says right here.
What else?
They filmed some of it, but not all of it.
Yeah.
Speaking of movies, what else is crazy is that like a month ago at a yard sale, I bought some stuff. The guy had the Blu-ray collection of Bond, everything, mint. The Blu-ray box set. You've seen it before, right? Yeah. And I brought it home. My wife was like, "Oh," she's like, "I've only watched like the ones with like just like the ones from the late '90s or the more recent ones." I'm like, "All right, this fall we're watching them all."
I tell you
Sean Connery.
I've watched.
That's a lot of them.
Since they
come on, Dr. No.
Since they put them all up on Prime, I would watch a couple of them. I tell you what, some of them with with Sean Connery, with the women and the stuff. It's like, ooh, that stuff hasn't aged well. It's a little.
You can't say that now.
It's a little. It's a little rapey. It's a little rapey.
Yeah. I'm more surprised if there's some that like aren't that way when you go back. That'd be more surprising to me.
Maybe like. I think
those old ones.
I think the Dalton ones, probably the Dalton ones are fine.
I'm sure, yeah.
They're pretty. They've kept those ones pretty.
Those ones from the '60s, though, it's like you watch them, it's like, ooh, boy, that stuff did not age well.
The time that they were made, plus the books that they're adapted from, are even worse than the movies.
Yeah.
So it's just like, ooh.
It's like, I don't remember him being that.
Ooh. Did it have Spectre in it? I was pretty excited.
I think that set, if it didn't, it have a spot for it, so you could buy it and then put it in the collection. So
I was pretty excited. I mean, amongst all the games I bought, I was like, "Ooh, what is this? Sell it to me for $10? Okay."
The sad thing,
pretty expensive.
Yeah, it is. It's about $80 to $100. You can catch it on sale for $50 sometimes.
And my buddy's like,
I think they just had it on the Prime Day.
Yeah, I think it was
super cheap.
Yeah,
40 maybe.
I almost bought Game of Thrones, but season 7 and 8 just has ruined that show for me.
My buddy offered it,
but I'll never watch it.
Yeah, my buddy offered it to me. He had the complete set. It's all DVD though, and he was like, "Oh, you could have everything. The last like 3 seasons are sealed. I'll do like 40." And I was like looking at my shelf, going, "Where am I gonna put this? I can watch it digitally right now," and I watched it like 2 times.
I can't tell you the last time I bought a movie.
Yeah,
like
and I don't buy stuff.
I just bought Scream 6.
I have a buddy that works in the film industry locally, and he's like, there's this company, there's a store down the road that he's like, they always get like overstock. He was showing me these like rare DVDs he bought. I'm like, I don't even know these. He's like, yeah, you just look for this like production company, and he's like, I buy tons of stuff. He's a big sci-fi horror guy. He's shelves and shelves.
Oh, jeez.
I'm good, man.
Yeah, we went.
I don't buy them super often anymore, but I do buy discs every once in a while.
Yeah, I stopped when. I think the last one I bought was the Spider-Man No Way Home or whatever it was, and then I haven't bought another one. I haven't even bought another Marvel movie since then. That's what's sad is I just hadn't. That was before COVID. So
yeah, but since then none of the Marvel movies are really worth buying until Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I do want to buy that one when it comes out in a few months.
Yeah, well, it's already out on digital right now. You can buy it on digital.
Yeah, it's on digital, but I want to buy the disc.
Yeah, so I'm figuring the disc isn't. Probably September, I'd say.
Usually when they're doing like what they've been doing is like it'll come out on digital and then it'll be another like couple months or so after that. Because like I just bought Scream 6, just came out on disc, not a few weeks ago or something, and it was on digital back, and I watched it probably like May. It was in theaters like February, so it's like it comes out in theaters and a few months later on digital and a few months later the disc. So they're all like not cannibalizing each other. Like, hey, we'll get those people who will like buy the digital version and then like maybe buy the disc later too.
Yeah.
No, we went and saw Indiana Jones last weekend.
Oh yeah, so my buddy really liked it.
I love it. I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. Like this week, I'll still think about it. It was the most. It was the most Indiana Jones movie since Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
I'm trying to squeeze that in.
You know, two like films later, but many years.
It was really.
I didn't
go
to see it because it came out literally like a day or two before I left on vacation.
Yeah.
So, and then I came back, and then when I was back from vacation, I was like, I don't want to go do anything yet. And then Mission Impossible came out this week. So
you don't have it's not one of those movies that you have to go to the movie theater and watch, but I really liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it seems like in general, people are like critics and stuff are a little mixed. Some liked it, some didn't. But like people I know who've seen it, they seem to like it. So
yeah, I mean, even Nikki liked it, and she had never seen any of the Indiana Jones movies until just a couple of weeks ago. I showed her Raiders and Last Crusade. I said, these are the two you probably need to see the most before we go see it.
Yeah, that would make sense.
You know, and they did have an offhanded Temple of Doom reference in there, which. All I had to do was go, this is why he said that. You know, I mean, it was like...
I was like, Temple of Doom is also weird if someone hasn't seen it before because it's the second movie, but it's a prequel.
Yeah,
if you don't know that, it'd be really weird.
Yeah, it was weird. I never cared for Temple of Doom even when I was a kid. I
liked Temple of Doom except for all the parts with whatever her name is in there because she literally screams the entire movie. Yep. But Short Round is awesome, so it's kind of like
I know, right?
Short Round.
I showed Nikki the first opening scene at Club Obi-Wan where they're doing all that, and I said, "All right, you get the gist of the movie. This is pretty much it." She screams all the time. Short Round's cool. I'm not going to sit here and watch it for 2 hours because I'm not.
Or that, and then like show the like minecart sequence. There you go. You see Temple of Doom.
Yeah, you've seen
like good parts, and like show them like the like gross out food and bug stuff.
Yeah.
Or if you really want to like show them the dark stuff, like the heart stuff that like got the movie its reputation back in the day, but still.
I told her, I said, I don't like where they cut the snake open and all the...
If you really, really want to like Temple of Doom, try watching Crystal Skull first and then watch Temple of Doom and see how much better it feels.
That could be. I've never thought about doing that.
Just by comparison.
But yeah,
they actually tried to do something with this one. Weird.
Yeah,
no CGI monkey swinging? What?
I really, really like the Dial Destiny. It's been even though I really like Guardians and I want to see it again, I would wait till it come out on digital. The Indiana Jones, I would actually go back to the theater and watch it again, just because. But I went and saw all those in the movie theater, you know, when I was a little kid. So I've seen every one of them in the movie theater. So it's a little different when you know, for me, because I enjoy watching them on the big screen. So
the only one I saw in theaters was Crystal Skull, and it was a very disappointing day.
Yeah. I went to the theater and watched.
I grew up watching, you know, like a lot of other movies, like all on VHS all the time over and over, wearing out tapes.
Oh yeah. But no, I remember going to the drive-in with a buddy to see Raiders, and then I remember. Temple of Doom was the first PG-13 movie, so we had to go with his parents to let us in because we weren't 13 at the time.
I thought Temple of Doom was still PG.
It was PG-13.
I didn't think PG-13 had been invented yet, but it's one of those things I have to look and remind myself on.
They wouldn't let us in without a parent with us, so his dad went with us, and we got there late. We had to wait to the second showing before the first show. I remember we sat there and sat there and sat there and sat there and waited. All right, well, let's talk about news real quick. The FTC court denied, or the court denied the FTC's last attempt to stop the Activision merger, the appeal. So my understanding is technically Microsoft could have closed the deal in the United States last night at midnight or this morning at midnight, however you want to say it. They haven't yet because they still have some CMA stuff they have to take care of first.
Country Music Awards.
Yeah, I know. Every time they say that, it's like, what's the Country Music Awards have to do with any? Oh, wait, yeah, I'm sorry. It's a UK thing. So apparently what I'm reading is the CMA's hang up is online cloud gaming stuff, so Microsoft might actually have to sell some of their cloud gaming in the UK to
they've been talking about that for months and months at this point, where it's like, oh, we're worried about cloud gaming over here. It's like, all right,
it's like, sure, whatever.
And like all the other headlines that ever pop up about this thing, it just feels like it never goes away, and it's always similar stuff. So maybe like the best part of this is it'll finally be done.
Yeah, that's it. That's my thing. It's finally going to be done. It's
like whichever way it went, I didn't care all that much.
I didn't either.
It's just finish it one way or the other. I don't care.
Some of the court stuff was real interesting to read when it was all going on, because
the last stuff where they had some things where, like, my favorite was the redacted PlayStation kind of documents that were
you
poorly
could still
redacted
see it.
and people could still read it.
Yeah.
So we now know the budget of a couple of the big games.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, and it was quite the budget and how many people worked on them and everything like that. It was wild.
Yeah.
If anything, this court case has really opened up a lot of what goes on behind the scenes in the video game industry, and I don't want to say that it may change things or it may put things in a different light from now on, but I mean, it's been an interesting thing, even though I'm so sick and tired of listening to everything about it. I mean, if you're on any kind of social media, you're just bombarded with it all day.
I mean, it's been going on for a long time, and it's like every few months, or sometimes like recently is a lot of stuff every week or 2 weeks. There's something new popping up about it, and it never quite just goes away where you get a break from it. So it's been, I forget when they announced that originally. Was that like
18 months ago? That's all I know. It was 18 months ago.
2 years.
Yeah, they said 18 months was when they announced it. But
yeah, this has been a while.
I knew something was going to happen, because whenever the court case ended Wednesday and the FTC lost it, immediately NASDAQ and the stock exchange said that Activision Blizzard was coming off the market Monday. Mm-hmm. So it was like, well, even if you appeal it, it's still coming on. It's coming off. So you know something's going to happen. So I have a feeling Monday they'll probably close it in the United States, and they extended it to I forget, August something in the UK. So it may just take a little longer in the UK to get it done. But one of the things that it came out and said in some of the court stuff is even if the merger happened tomorrow, Call of Duty won't show up on Game Pass until like 2025 or something.
Wow.
Like that. So I mean,
that's not that far away.
No, it's really not. We're almost done with 2023. I mean, we're halfway done. I mean, it's
we're more than halfway through 2023. So like, we probably could see, trailers for games that are released in 2025 in, less than a year.
Yeah, probably
depending on how early they put them out.
Those Game Awards will probably have a lot of trailers for 2025 at the end of the year. So, but no, the only thing that I'm glad with this merger is hopefully this will mean more teams will be able to work on something other than Call of Duty. some of these Activision teams like High Moon and and some of the others. I
mean, maybe whatever. I don't care about that so much as I hope that Microsoft cleans house with Activision Blizzard so that like anybody working in any of the studios there will just have much better quality of life.
I hope so too.
And people who care. I don't know how easy or hard that would be to do, or if they even plan to do it, but you better.
I have a feeling
you don't want it to stay the same. And Microsoft doesn't want to have the press of like, hey, you spent $1 bajillion and it got worse, or it stayed the same with these companies that have bad reputations. Like whatever.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. There'll be some kind of cleaning house. Yeah. So Kotick will get his money, and then they'll say, all right, see you later.
He already gets his money. Good Lord.
Yeah, I know. I forgot how many millions
There's a thing recently where I was reading a story about kind of like how much the Nintendo execs make. Mm-hmm. And like, I think I heard it on a podcast originally, and then I read the story. But then it's like it's compared to like all the other, different, like American and European based CEOs of big game companies. It's like it seems like a lot until you see what it's compared to other video game CEOs. You're like, oh, okay, that's a lot because it's a lot compared to what I make, but it's not a lot compared to like what Bobby Kotick steals from everyone.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it reminds me.
It has been for decades. That guy.
I forgot. I listened to Reggie's book Reggie Fils-Aimé's book. If you like audiobooks, buy the audiobook and listen to it. He reads the book from start to finish, so it's 8 hours of him reading. Yeah, he reads it. It is
that'd be fun because he's very good at just like speaking and stuff. So I bet he'd be good at reading an audiobook.
What's cool about it is it gives you an insight of the business side of Nintendo, but it's not all about Nintendo. It's literally different stories of him throughout his life in different companies that he's worked for, and it's set up to be like, he calls it the so what. So he'll tell a story, and then he'll be so what. And then it'll be this business thing about how, it's very important to do this and this and this and this and stick to your guns and blah, 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 blah. It's a very business-oriented book, but it's also a very interesting book. You get both things. It's very interesting in his life. It's very interesting in the video games industry, and it's very interesting in business. I learned a lot, and I couldn't stop listening to it. It was like 8 hours long. It was great. And I think I got it on Audible. It was on sale for like $6. I mean, it was really cheap. So if it's on sale again, pick it up. It's worth it. It's just like listening to him do an interview, and you're just sitting there just listening, going, yeah, I'm sitting here talking to. No, I'm really not, but it's really good. It's really, really good. But anyway, back to this. Yeah, man, I can't get over how many studios Microsoft is going to have now. It's like, and the IPs they're going to have with Blizzard, with just Blizzard, with StarCraft and World of Warcraft and Crash Bandicoot, and if they want to bring back Skylanders and Guitar Hero and all this, there's all these IPs that Activision just
all these IPs that Activision just rode into the ground and just like, all right, we own it, but we're not doing anything with it.
I would love to see. I'd love to see Microsoft go back to Hasbro and say, we need the Transformers license back so we can remaster and re-release the War for Cybertron games. Those games are really, really good. I have Fall of Cybertron on the Steam Deck. I played on Steam Deck, and it is so good. I would like to play War for Cybertron, the first one again. I really liked it, and I don't even have the hard copies of them on 360 anymore. I used to, but
they're like $50 a piece.
Yeah, they're expensive now because they're delisted, so you can't even buy them digitally. So
I mean, all that's cool, but I think them doing new things with some of the IPs would be a much better thing.
Yeah,
because then they have here's this new thing from this thing that you know and love. Like, hey, what if a new Tony Hawk came out only on Xbox, or what if this came out, and then that would be filling up some of the exclusives that they haven't had coming out in a while, but also in some different game types than they have already, right? So we'll just see what they do with it. It's going to take like time, like all the other studios they've acquired, but still.
Well, and what was bad with Bethesda, everybody was like, oh, they bought Bethesda and they've hardly done anything. Yeah, but that all happened during COVID when things were shut down and everything like that. And then trying to come back from that and have time to do this, that takes a lot of time. It's not going to happen overnight, but it'll be interesting to see. And, even if Microsoft's in the next 10 years goes, we're not making consoles anymore, we're only going to be Game Pass and publishing third-party games. Holy crap. I mean, just the games that they could have would just be unbelievable.
Yeah, so. But I don't see Nintendo doing that. I don't see Microsoft
I don't either. They'll always have hardware, too.
It could look very different in 10 years for sure, but, I don't know. They're still going to want to have their box that they can put their stuff on, because then it's much more high profile than just like, oh, we have this Game Pass thing that you can buy in places. Like, that's not as cool, and it's not as neat. You can't show that as like a cool, like, here's what the console looks like on a magazine cover or an ad or whatever. It's not as flashy and fun.
Right, yeah. I mean,
so even if they don't make their money with the console, they're still going to want to have the hardware.
Yeah, they always will. I think you're right there.
Plus, they're a hardware company too. Like, so, Microsoft's so huge, they have a bunch of stuff. So like, they're gonna want to continue building those boxes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The one thing that of all the court stuff that I found real interesting was one of the quotes that Jim Ryan said, if Microsoft won this case, that they would not allow Microsoft to have a PlayStation 6 dev unit to make any games on, because they don't want them to know what hardware is coming out before it comes out.
Like, of course, whoever thought that they would ever get one?
Yeah, well, but everybody's saying, well, what about Call of Duty when it comes out? If you're not going to give them a dev kit, they're going to make it for PlayStation 5, and it's going to be a PlayStation 5 version on PlayStation 6.
That's the drawback. That's the drawback for, doing that. Like, sure, you can still maybe have it put it out on there, but you can only do so much. So
Microsoft clearly didn't care with MLB because, they had to give dev kits to whatever studio for Sony made MLB, and it was multi-platform and came out with the Series X version the year the Series X launched. So it's like, who cares? Who cares at this point?
It depends. It's kind of like, okay, so like getting a dev kit now for something that's like not released yet for the PlayStation 6 or whatever makes sense. But like once it's out for a little while, then maybe you can get your hands on it and it's just delayed.
Yeah.
But who knows,
I mean, what difference? They've come to the point where they're all so close to PCs, and so close in the same thing anyway. Who cares? It's like the Ratchet and Clank game for the PC. They announced the specs this week. Does it require an SSD like Sony said? Oh, you got to have the super fast SSD that's in the PlayStation for it to work right. No, I can play it off a regular hard drive, which means I can play it off an SD card on my
not quite true.
Steam Deck.
I believe you have to have what's the stupid thing? Like it's something that makes the hard drive faster. It's like a storage something or other.
I don't know. They didn't say.
But yeah, there's no way that it's gonna run well on hard drives that spin like. There's no way. Unless you just have a crap ton of RAM that you can just load the entire a ton of the game into memory. Because that's why all the portals and the loading and all that stuff in that game is so fast is it's running off an SSD.
Let's see, where was
all those assets can just pull up pretty quickly. I just can't see that game running well on a hard drive at all. You could probably get it to work, but it wouldn't be as smooth or something as kind of like the right from an SSD.
I gotta find.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just a whole bunch of hoopla that doesn't mean anything, but just. Knowing how much faster SSDs are than a spinning disk, it's kind of like,
I'll have to find
that game. You swap back and forth between some stuff a lot, and it's not like a small amount of stuff. It's like complete environments sometimes that you're going back and forth on. So who knows?
See.
If they get it right, working on a spinning disk hard drive is because they've had a lot of time to try and optimize it to do so, and do some other magic tricks.
Yeah, it just says SSD recommended, not required. 75 gigs, but it'll run on an Intel i3 with a GeForce 960. It's holy fright for the minimum. That's nothing. It's I was very
but that
surprised.
game, I can see you cut off all the ray tracing out of that game and some other stuff, and then cut back on a lot of kind of the polygon count, and it's not
But if you want to run that sucker...
Even some of the bigger environments or whatever, if you have a level of detail, once you get a little bit away from you, crunch that down a lot, it would be doable. So it's just more it sounds like they put their work in on the port versus just spitting one out, right? They actually tried to do it so it'd be a wider system requirements of work.
Yeah, if you look at the ultimate ray tracing specs for 4K 60... you're talking 32 gigs of RAM, an iCore 7, RTX 480. I mean, you're talking high.
I mean, it works pretty well on the PlayStation 5, but it's pushing the fidelity mode is 4K 30.
Yeah.
So if you want to go 4K 60 with everything turned all the way up, then not kind of the performance, how the performance mode works on PlayStation, then you're gonna need some power.
There you go. I'll put
some power.
I put the link in there with the
that's out soon, isn't it?
July 26th. 26th.
Yeah, very soon.
Yeah, so just a couple.
I'm not getting it because guess what comes out the day after?
Yeah, I know.
The Expanse Telltale game that I have to play.
Yeah, I want to play that too.
Because I like Telltale games and I love The Expanse, so I've been waiting.
That's one of the games I bought on Prime Day was the Tales from the Borderlands, the more recent one. For PS5. I was
Have you?
I don't know. It was $10.
Oh yeah, I know it was really cheap, and I've
still on sale too.
It on Steam,
actually, it was 15 on Prime Day, but now it's 10 for PS5 or Switch.
I thought about playing it on Steam.
I did never play the first one. But
I did. I liked it. All right.
Yeah.
It was okay.
First Tales from the Borderlands is the absolute best Telltale game that was ever made because it was. It wasn't as buggy as some of the other ones were, and it was really fun.
Yeah, it was.
Well, and I know that like the Game of Thrones game is the one that everyone's like, oh yuck. But I enjoyed that one. I enjoyed all of them.
Like their Jurassic Park game and some of the other ones that you forget that they've made. Like some of the other ones, they're not great.
Speaking of the Jurassic Park one, I found that at a yard sale like a couple months ago for $1. I'm like, what's this? I'm like, oh. This might be worth playing.
I had it on.
Like, what's this? And then you start playing it. Like, what's this?
Yeah, I was like, oh, what is this?
So I wish I could forget.
Yeah, my eyes pour back.
So last story I put in here, Major Nelson announced Friday that he is leaving Xbox after 20 years. That is crazy. He was one that when I think of Xbox,
after 20 years, dude,
that's who I think of.
Else.
Oh yeah, absolutely. 20 years doing anything is a long time.
Yeah,
but to me, it's hard not to think of Xbox without Major Nelson. He does the podcast. He's been their face.
Early on.
Yeah, he's been their face for such a long time.
And he's not just like, somebody who's been around in the background. He's like someone who's like interacting with community on social media and podcasts and all this stuff like all the time, all like even messages that pop up on your console, all this kind of stuff. He's been around for a long time.
He does the podcast. If you follow him on socials, his socials are always really good, not just with Xbox announcement, but just general life things that he posts on.
Yeah, he's very positive and stuff. Yeah. And, it's good to see.
It's going to be really weird to not see him doing something with Xbox. He hasn't said what he's going to do, but I read that on Twitter Friday, and I was just like, holy crap.
He's going to retire to a beach for a hot minute, surely, or just
I would hope
somewhere
so,
where he can do nothing for a little bit. Maybe, who knows?
Yeah, I would hope
he
so.
Deserves it.
Yeah, he does, and and hopefully he still does something in a video game capacity, and I'm sure he will, or tech,
we'll
maybe
see.
Tech, but yeah, we'll see. So. Yeah,
maybe he'll start a Patreon podcast, run something or other.
Maybe it's hard to tell.
That would be weird. I don't think he would do that.
No, but on one hand, I hate to see him go because I like him so much. But on the other hand, 20 years, like I said, 20 years doing any job, it's like
hey, maybe someone new will come in who will be just as awesome, just in a different way.
Yeah, could be. You never know.
Maybe there'll be nobody. Who knows? We'll see what they want to do.
Yeah. Nikki is taught this is her 20th year of teaching, and it's just like, I can't imagine doing anything for 20 years. But hey, if you love something, you do it, and you do it for as long as you can do it. So good for him.
Give it time. That we'll be doing podcasts for 20 years sooner than you think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is pretty crazy. That's just I'll miss all of his fun stuff on Twitter, the contests, the commentary he always ran. I'm sure he was at some of the PAXs I went to, and I wish I could have, said, hey, man, thanks for doing everything you do in the game industry, and thanks for, being a positive person.
Yeah, being cool. Thanks for being cool.
Thanks, dude.
All right, well, that's all I've got. If you guys got anything else, I think we're going to call that a show. I know Dennis was going to try to stop in, but he's kind of busy, but that's all right. I will leave his list of games that he played, and he'll talk about them next time he comes on. So,
or he won't. Maybe he'll have a whole new list of games.
Knowing Dennis, he probably will. He'll probably have a whole other list of games. So, all right. Like I say, if you want to join us live, follow us on Twitter at GL_podcast. I have us on that Threads too, but I don't remember what our handle is there. Because it's linked to our Instagram account, so I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, screw that noise.
Yeah. So I figured,
hey, you can do this thing if you have this other thing. Come on.
It's like, let me get our site name just in case something happens and this really takes off. But at this point, it's just there in perpetuity. There's nothing listed there. So. But yeah, you can join us live in the chat or watch us. And like I say, if you get the podcast on the RSS feed, hey, you'll get it when I put it up on Sunday. It'll be fine. Don't you worry.
Don't you worry about a thing.
Yeah, don't you worry about a thing.
So, don't you worry about a thing.
All right. Well, we should be able to squeeze one more show in this month, hopefully. The 29th is in 2 weeks. So luckily there's 5 Saturdays in this month. So it's like, hey, maybe we'll actually be able to do 2 shows in a month now.
We'll find out. Maybe we'll collapse from summer heat.
Oh, gosh. I don't want to think about that. So. Summer heat. Oh, wait.
Toasty!
Yeah.
Well, that's how I look at it. All right. I think, all right. So it's mid-July. I'm like, all right. I got about 2.5 months of lawn mowing. And, come early September, AC usually goes off in Eastern Washington.
See, our AC runs until usually about mid-November.
Till about December 1st.
Well, sometimes.
It goes off for a month and starts up again in January.
Sometimes it does.
Yep.
I mean, it depends on how a month ago.
That's how my buddy was in Vegas. He said that, it would get cold enough. Yeah. He would shut the AC off like in the winter for like a month or two, and then it's back up to like that hot desert heat.
Yeah, no thanks.
If we get autumn for like maybe a week in mid-November, if we're lucky. Like all the trees are suddenly like, oh, hey.
Yeah. Hey, instead of,
no,
and then it could be 70s on Christmas sometimes. If
we get 4 seasons here. We get the winter cold. We get the spring is usually pretty short. We get a decent fall. We usually get about a month to 2 months of fall. And then summer is like, man, there was already one day. My friend had a yard sale in May, and there was one day where it was like 90, and that's not usually that hot this time of the year. And I was like, man,
we actually had a good spring this year. It was actually a full. We didn't have really 90 days until just over 4th of July. Really, June was kind of mild for what it usually is, so I can't complain. Now I'll complain because I'm tired of sweating every time I walk outside the house just to get
the mail.
It's hot. That's what you're doing wrong. You shouldn't walk outside the house. You need to do cartboats so the weather's just like, I don't know what he's doing.
What's he doing? Whatever. Just let him do what he's doing.
Take your drone, fly it to the mailbox, stick the mail. Come on, get those Amazon packages.
Yeah.
Too heavy, sir.
But all right, guys. Well, like I say, we're going to call that a show. Thanks a lot for hanging out with us, and we'll see you guys next time.